Welcome to the Books Between Friends podcast.
3 lifelong friends,
one shared obsession.
Books.
from epic fantasy to page-turning thrillers.
We dive into the stories we love,
And the ones we just can't stop talking about.
so take a seat.
Grab a drink.
And get cozy. Hey, book friends, welcome back. And speaking of cozy, what is making you guys feel cozy these days? So for me, I kind of feel like I've hit like a boring routine, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I was literally just telling Melanie the other day. I said, "Oh, am I becoming boring? But all I want to do is stay home and read. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do anything. Like I just want to go home and read and curl up on my couch." She's like, "No, it's just what happens when you grow up." And I'm like, "Okay, is that a good or bad thing though?"
It's never bad.
Like she didn't really answer my question.
Yeah, left me hanging there.
What do you guys think? Like, is that a good or bad thing?
No, it's obviously not a bad thing for me. I've always been a homebody. That's just my normal since childhood. So
Yeah, same here. Like, I think my sister and I talk, and we're all homebodies, and I think our parents kind of raised us to be that way, like to learn how to like be with each other instead of like leaning on someone else. Like we're very close family, so yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
no, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to read.
Well, you know what's
The thing
hilarious is that my parents were the complete opposite. Like they're very social. They always have plans with friends and like weekend plans, and it was just like socially draining for me to have to
Yeah.
be like dragged along to all this stuff. I've always been an introvert in a homebody, so that is not
Well,
my element.
I love being home. Don't get me wrong. And especially now, I guess Melanie's right. As I get older, like I just find more comfort in my own home. And there are just weekends where like that's all I want to do. But I used to like going out, and I used to like to go drink and have a good time. And,
Mhm.
like I used to want to do all those things, and now I don't. So this week, I literally went through 2 books. I read The Tenant and The Teacher by Frida McFadden, and they were both fabulous. Five
Love
star
Frida.
and four and a half. Yeah, 4.5 stars. Like so good. Like just ran through that. So that kept me cozy all week. I've just been reading a lot, and I love it.
Some.
What about you guys?
Well, okay, so this past weekend, I have had a massage membership for a while now, and I go once a month, and it honestly started because I used to get neck and shoulder pain constantly. I was always, having a crick in my neck where I'd have to turn my whole body to like turn and see someone next to me. And so that has been helping me, and I just keep that consistent. And I've always told my husband that he should go because he has back problems from work.
Yeah.
And he recently had a bad back injury from work.
Oh.
And so finally that convinced him that he should start to get massages. So we actually went together for the first time this weekend, and that was nice. Yeah.
Turn me free off.
Yeah. I love massages. They're so amazing. Like
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I love
It's a
them.
must for me.
Yeah.
No, I love that for y'all. I
No?
do not like that. No.
Like, have you
No,
tried
That's
it,
fair.
or are you just saying like you've tried it and you don't like it?
Okay, well, call me out. No, I have not tried it. Other than someone like trying to like, rub my shoulders or whatever.
Okay.
hmm
No, it kind of weirds me out. I don't want someone else
Touching you.
touching me. Yeah.
That's okay.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
No, that's fair. Yeah. You have to
That's
be okay with that,
honestly-
obviously.
Yeah, that's honestly what my husband would always say when I
Yeah.
would try to tell him, like, you should go, it's so nice. It also made him uncomfortable to have someone touching him. But I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're professionals,
Yeah.
Yeah.
completely fine.
Well, you
but
know why
obviously if
you
it's not your
get-
thing, it's not your thing.
Yeah. You know what? You get a lot of back and neck tension right there, right? Or like
Yeah,
neck
it's like
and
sitting at a
shoulder
desk
tension.
because I've been doing desk
Well,
jobs for like 10,
Yes,
20 years.
but my dentist told me it's because we grind our teeth a lot.
I actually don't.
Are you sure? Because I didn't think I did either until he showed me the evidence of how much I grind my teeth.
I grind my teeth all the
And
time, so
I
I've
have
never been
really
told that by
bad-
my dentist. So
Okay.
every time I've talked to like a doctor or like the massage therapist that I go to about like my constant neck and shoulder pain,
Hmm.
the first thing they ask is, "Do you work at a desk or do you do a desk job?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they say, "That's it." So,
It's an obvious answer, I guess.
mhm.
Yeah.
All right. So I've been watching a lot of Only Murders in the Building. Uh,
Yeah.
in addition to that, I've been watching this. It's so silly. It's a cartoon, and I love it. And a lot of adults enjoy it. So I'm gonna throw that out there. But it's Gravity Falls.
That's a great
Okay.
show.
I haven't heard of
Yes,
it.
I okay. It's really good. It's two
Oh,
seasons, and
okay.
that's it.
Cool.
And it came out in like 2013.
Hmm.
And it's a complete story. Like it's over one summer of these twins, and the girl Mabel is voiced by the same voice actress that plays Louise in Bob's Burgers,
Uh-huh.
and she also plays the guide in What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So Kristen
Yeah, that's
Shaw,
her. Yes,
I love her. She's
and so yes,
hilarious.
she is hilarious. She was on an episode of The Bald and the Beautiful, like that's Katya's and
Yeah,
Trixie's.
I think I actually saw that episode.
Yeah, it's
She's so
hilarious.
funny.
Yes, she is. And so I've been watching that, and we're Nick and I are almost finished with season 2. So it's perfect for this time of year. So if anyone hasn't
Okay.
seen it, or if you just want to give it a rewatch, now is the perfect time to do so.
Gravity Falls. Gabby used to be so in love with that show. Like, so in love with that. That
It's
and
so
The
good.
Adventure of Time or Adventure in Time or something like that.
Adventure Time. Yeah.
Yes, Adventure
Oh,
Time. Yes.
Adventure
I just,
Time. Okay, I know
yeah.
that one.
I just remember I used to buy her like a bunch of those stuff whenever it would be her birthday, but she loved it.
Oh, that's
So,
funny.
yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. All right, book friends, I am really excited to start our brand new discussion today as your lore master. But what a better way to start spooky season than to start with The Bewitching by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. However, before we get started, I'm going to pass this over to Steph really quick for a quick spoiler warning and some shout
Awesome.
outs.
Okay, yes, so excited for this book and spooky season. But before we start our discussion, quick spoiler warning as always. If you are listening to this episode, we're assuming that you've read up to chapter 4 of the 1998 time period in this book, because there are going to be spoilers during this discussion. Now, again, before we get started, I just want to do a quick shout out. First of all, thank you guys for supporting us and following us on social media. And if you want to help our little podcast community grow, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That really helps us out and helps other book friends find us on Apple Podcasts. And we also want to give a couple of shout outs to some of our followers: Grace, the Ballad of Grace on Instagram, and Words Gone Wyvern on TikTok, for listening to our Blood Over Brighthaven episodes and interacting with us on all our platforms. Like, that's exactly why we do this. We want to hear your guys' opinions. We want the discussion to happen beyond just these episodes. So, keep letting us know your thoughts. Like, we want to hear it all.
Yes, thank you. We've had some great conversations. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, so let's get started. But as always, this is a brand new book. So before we jump into our summary, we are going to share our first impressions. So I really, really want to hear what you guys thought of this book, and I'll get us started. So when we discussed what book we wanted to read next, we definitely thought, okay, October, we really wanted to pick something with like a spooky feeling. And we also just want to kind of, broaden our genres. And we really haven't read a lot of horror and a lot of spooky. So we really wanted to do that for this time around. So we landed on The Bewitching, really excited about it. Because growing up, I used to hear stories about witches from my parents and my grandma. Honestly, maybe that's where my lore actually started. Because it used to really fascinate me listening to the stories, but it equally scared me. Like, I get scared even now looking at an owl. And if you know why, you know. There was one night, like, I heard an owl right outside my window, and I was freaking out so bad I had to call my sister. I was like, there's an owl. It's just staring at me. Like, what do I do? So, yeah. It has started since like I was a kid.
I kind of want
That's
to
so
know more about
funny.
the owl. I don't know why.
I don't know
What?
the lore about the owls.
What?
No.
It means that it's a witch. They're there like they're watching you. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting. Okay.
It freaks me out every time I see one.
Okay, well that now that I have that context, that might play into our discussion a little later. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom would always tell us, like, be careful with the owl. Like, es una bruja. She's watching you. I was like,
Oh,
oh
that's
my
so
God.
funny.
So, like, that's like been embedded in me, y'all.
Okay, good
okay.
to know.
Yeah.
love-
Okay. So, reading The Bewitching, it was not gonna lie, it was a little bit of a slow start. Of course, you know, it has to build up, it has to give you kind of the background story. But once it started going back between all the different timelines, it really started picking up for me, and it got really interesting. I cannot wait to see how all three timelines tie together as it starts unraveling about all these disappearances that they're talking about and all the weird shit happening. So I cannot wait to get more into that. What about you guys? What were your
Awesome.
first impressions?
So I also was so excited to read this book because I haven't read, I don't think any horror except for Coraline, which is more like child centric, but it is considered horror.
Still pretty creepy.
It is, yeah, it's a creepy story and I loved it and I loved the movie, but that's the only horror I've ever read. And so
Hmm.
I also, as Jen mentioned, wanted to get more into that genre.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've also always wanted to read Mexican Gothic, which is by the same author as this book. So I've always heard how great that book is. And so I was excited when I think Ethan was the one who brought this book up. And to be so honest, you guys, I actually judged this book by its cover because come on, it's beautiful. The artwork is
That
just
is
gorgeous.
so pretty.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So I instantly wanted to read it even before it came out. Um, and so the reading experience off the bat, I am already feeling myself relating to Minerva. In her timeline, she describes the university that she goes to and how all the buildings that are her dorms and the buildings that she goes to class in are old buildings or old homes. And I went to a similar university, so it's giving me a little bit of nostalgia for that time in my life, you know? So I'm already connecting with her on that level. And I also relied on scholarships to go to my school. Like I went to school with a bunch of privileged kids. It was a private school, so that was not cheap. And so I relied on scholarships and working while I was in school and taking summer school out, you know, outside of the university to like make ends meet. That's a lot of what she describes having to do in her university too. So, you know, I'm connecting with her on that level also. And I always just like to find those like connections with characters in books. And then I also have always been fascinated by witches and supernatural lore. So this is really getting me excited to learn more about it. I didn't grow up with all the witch lore like what Jen was describing. So I've only experienced it through other forms of media, like, you know, TV shows in the news and stuff like that. So I'm excited about this book and to get more into it.
So yeah, we're in spooky season. I'm loving it. I love this time of year for many reasons. We have cooler weather, the start of the
Hopefully.
holiday season. Yeah, so fingers crossed. The start of the holiday season, we have fun flavors. It's soup season. I love to make a good soup or some chili.
Yeah.
And all, of course, things spooky and creepy. I especially love stories about witches like you, Steph. That's probably why Hocus Pocus was like a childhood favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Same.
Love all of that. But I also wasn't really allowed to engage with anything related to witchcraft when I was growing up. So that's probably where the intrigue really came from. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And so when I went over to a friend's house and they happened to be watching Harry Potter, like, I guess I just have to watch it with you. I don't want to be a rude guest, you know. Fine, twist my arm.
Funny.
So
Yeah.
I sorry, mom and dad. But yeah, no,
You
I
turned out
just
great.
I
You're okay.
love
Yeah, you're fine.
stop it. But yeah, it started reading this book, and like you, I was completely transfixed by the cover. I thought it was gorgeous. And reading it, it reminds me, it's very similar. It has a similar feel, I should say, to A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Just because of the research that Minerva is doing and like the dark academia tone of it all. That's very reminiscent of that story. But this is a lot more creepy and eerie than A Discovery of Witches. And so it has a trace of that eerie mystery throughout all of the three different timelines. And what makes it even more kind of eerie to read is how they all are starting to connect. Like you can see some patterns and connections throughout the timelines. And
yeah.
I'm loving
Yeah.
and I think that's probably where a lot of our discussion is going to come from.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited to just kind of dive into it because Jen, I totally agree. It started really slow, but then it like once we started picking up on some things, I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
okay, page turn. So I'm ready.
Okay, so speaking of timelines, I'm so glad you brought that up. There are 3 timelines in The Bewitching. And so I'm going to give a quick little summary of what each timeline goes over before we jump into our 3-2-1 discussion. So the first timeline that it starts with is 1998, and that is present time, and that is Minerva's story. So in 1998, we're with Minerva Contreras. She is a 24-year-old graduate student at Stone Ridge College in Massachusetts and resident director who's exhausted by her thesis and burned out by isolation. She is obtaining an English literature degree, currently working on her thesis, which focuses on horror literature. She's obsessed with uncovering the truth behind horror writer Beatrice Tremblay's novel The Vanishing, convinced that it hides something real. Through a run-in at one of the parties that she goes to, she runs into Noah Yates, where she finally gets access to Beatrice Tremblay's private papers that she's been after for so long. She gets it through Carolyn Yates, which happens to include an unpublished manuscript where Beatrice recounts Virginia Somerset's disappearance. But as she digs deeper, strange things are happening on campus, ominous marks on her door, and an eerie sense that she's not safe. So that is 1998 for y'all. And then the other timeline is 1908, and that is Alba's story. So we're jumping back to 908, where we follow 19-year-old Alba Quiroga, which is Minerva's great-grandmother, living on the family farm, Piedras Quebradas, which translated is Broken Rocks, in Mexico, after her father's death. She lives on the farm with her mom, Luisa, her 18-year-old brother, Tadeo, her 6-year-old sister Lola, her little brother Moises, and 7-year-old twins Magdalena and Fernanda. Big family here. As the eldest sibling, she carries a heavy responsibility while also feeling the magnetic pull of her charming but unsettling uncle Arturo. Alba is torn between the safe, steady presence of Valentin, who is a farm boy who is trying to court her, and Arturo's sophisticated, dangerous attention. Meanwhile, the family is struggling financially, tensions are rising with talk of selling the farm, and whispers of witches and nearby villages blur superstition with reality. It all escalates with a chilling cliffhanger when Alba discovers blood in her brother's room, y'all. Okay. The last timeline is 1934, and this is Beatrice's story. Or at least this is a story told by Beatrice's point of view. So in 1934, we hear from Beatrice Tremblay herself. She's a scholarship student similar to Minerva at the same college, Stone Ridge College. She is caught between her wealthy friend Carolyn Whitgrave, who is also Carolyn Yates, and eccentric roommate Virginia Somerset. For Beatrice, Virginia wasn't just a friend, she was her first unspoken love. Virginia's spiritualism and obsession with the paranormal set her apart, and while she fascinated Beatrice, she also unsettled others. Beatrice frames the night Virginia disappeared as the inevitable end to a growing darkness that she sensed in her. It is here where we see how Tremblay's fiction of The Vanishing seems to echo her lived experience, blurring horror, love, and loss. So those are the 3 timelines, you guys. So we're going to be jumping back and forth between those as we discuss our 3-2-1. And so we are going to start off with 3 things that stuck out to us, and then we will switch over to 2 character moments. So for the 3 things that stuck out to us, I will get us started. We already said this, and I'm sure we're going to continue saying this, but I'm loving the 3 timelines and how it's all connected. Ethan said it, Steph said it, I said it. It's just really great to get different points of views. You get to see the world in just different perspectives. And I love the differences in the timelines, like 1998, 1908, 1934. Like there's a lot that happens in between all of that. It just really adds to the story, you know? Right now, the POV that I'm interested in, just reading this section, is in 1934. I feel like Beatrice's story and her relationship with Virginia is just like really interesting. I almost feel like we're going to get most of like the witchy vibes from this time period. I'm just saying that reading it for the first time, I could be wrong. Obviously, we were going to probably get them from all time periods, but right now that's the one I'm getting it from.
Okay.
And
I feel that.
you're right.
Yeah.
And I really love the author's like writing style. Like I love getting all the spooky and like foreboding feelings from just reading like how Beatrice is describing the night that everything like went to shit, right? And so I really like what she says here. Like I want to read this quote. Then it was December and that was the beginning of a tragedy. Sweetness gone sour in a matter of weeks. December blotted out all joy and delight and must have all started during the Halloween ball, even before the seance. That was when Beatrice spotted that terrible darkness in Virginia's eyes. The seeds of tragedy had taken root by then. I mean, you're reading that, you're like, dude, she's about to go down.
Yeah, like what
Right?
happened? And seance?
Yes.
Oh my
like,
God.
oh my God. What did you guys think of that? Like, what are your thoughts on the timeline so far?
I love the timelines. Usually, I don't like books and stories that jump from time period to time period, but I feel like that's maybe more common in horror because they have to like set some historic background as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that's just me stabbing in the dark because I don't read a lot of horror. So, but I am just loving all of it. And I'm wondering, like, because of the timelines, I'm wondering how we get from Mexico to Massachusetts, right? That's where we are, right?
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do we get there?
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, Minerva is an international student, so she is
Right.
from Mexico studying there, and she went to Stone Ridge because Beatrice went to Stone Ridge.
Right. She was drawn to
Right.
her writing. So
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
so I know there's
curious
that
also the
connection.
connection of, because obviously Minerva was interested in Beatrice's writing, but I wonder if there's like a supernatural reason why she was drawn to Beatrice.
Yes.
And
That's what I'm thinking.
obviously we've already all talked about and alluded to, there are some connections with these three timelines, like some similar parallel things going on. So, maybe something more will be revealed there.
True. All right. So my second point that kind of really stuck out to me, that I think there's going to be a much bigger picture to this, but I'm not quite seeing it just yet. It's the future of Piedras Quebradas, and that is Alba's family farm, right? So I really like Tadeo, and I like everything that he's doing to help his family. He's just trying to protect the legacy of his family, and I don't see anything wrong with that. But here comes freaking Uncle Arturo, who I don't like, by the way, y'all. I do not like this man, and I'll talk more about him later when I talk about my prediction. But he comes in, waltzing in after the dad passed away, and he's like trying to suggest that they'll sell the farm. Talking about financial problems, saying that the family is better off in Mexico City. And he keeps trying to paint this like pretty picture of what it would be like to live in Mexico City. And he tries to talk trash about the country living. So like, I don't like that. But my point here is like, I'm not seeing the bigger picture yet. Like, I don't understand why he's trying so hard to like paint this picture, and why he's trying so hard to get Tadeo to sell this piece of land. The only like obvious answer is like he's after the money or he's after the farm himself. But I feel like there's a bigger picture. There's more to that. Like, what do y'all think?
So I think you're right. What I picked up on is, you remember the other aunt that I think also lives in Mexico City, not with
Julia.
Arturo, but she also lives in the same city.
And Julia, I think.
Did she write to, or maybe she, like in conversations with Alba's mother, say something to the effect of like, he basically just like blows through money, and he's just got like this lavish lifestyle that he can't really support. And he's also here now under the pretense that he's here to help out because the man of the house just died. But he's gonna stay for an extended time period. I'm like, he's running low on cash.
Yeah.
And this is his little scheme to keep his lifestyle afloat,
Well, and that's what I was thinking
Yes.
too. I was like, that's the obvious, right? Like he ran out of money, he needs somewhere to live. The
Hmm.
dad just passed away. He thinks he's gonna come in as the man of the family and do what's
Yeah.
best and try to take the money. But I still think that there's more to that. I think
Mm.
there's something connected to this farm that I'm just not quite seeing. Or maybe I'm making too much of it. I don't know.
I don't know. So I have a couple of thoughts about this. Of course, I don't have a good vibe about Arturo. Like, he's just gross. He is a spoiled brat
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
an adult form.
Yeah.
He is the antithesis of Matthew Crawley, right? Where Matthew Crawley didn't want Downton Abbey.
Yeah,
Downton Abbey. Yeah.
yes,
And
yeah,
and so he's the exact opposite,
yeah.
right? Like
Right.
he wants this and he wants the money. Like he wants the money. I'm thinking that that truly was his intention, and then when he realized that Alba's brother Tadeo wasn't gonna budge, then I think he probably set some other things in motion.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I
which,
I don't
yeah.
like Arturo.
Yeah, that plays
Hmm.
into my theory
Yeah.
a little bit that I'm going to share later.
And didn't
Okay.
he also grow up in this small town that they're
Yes.
in? He moved out to the
He moved
city
to
and now
Mexico
he's
City.
he's pretending to be like better than everybody in this small town.
Yes. All
Which
because
I also
he knows how to speak
hate.
French, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, just like shh, calm down.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're trying too hard.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I get really excited when I jump into 1934. I'm like, ooh, I want to hear this story. But when we jump to 1908, I'm like, ugh, no, I don't want to. I don't want to hear another thing coming out of Arturo's mouth. I don't want to read this timeline. Like, I'm a little turned
Yeah.
off by
He's
1908
slimy.
right now, y'all. Yeah,
It is gross. It's gross.
Yeah.
I don't like Alba, honestly,
I'm
because
telling you,
she's
I don't like that whole
naive.
timeline. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's super
Yeah.
naive and she's totally bewitched by Arturo.
Ooh, very good, very good.
I love that.
it.
That was good. Snaps for Steph.
Yeah.
All right, so my last thing is the double black lines, and that was like literally, I think, how our section ended. Maybe
Yeah,
it was
that was the
close to-
cliffhanger.
That was the last
that was how
scene.
the section ended. It was Minerva finding double black lines on her door, and I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, is she being marked in some way? Like, what do we think this means? Because like, is she being hunted now that she's like starting to unravel more of Beatrice and Virginia's story? Like. And I like what she was thinking to herself here. Like, this is where I'm telling you, I absolutely love the writing of Sylvia. Like, it's so good. So Minerva's thinking to herself, yet she tried in vain to make sense of them, feeling this was a message she ought to decode. The black upon the white door was like a cavity in a tooth, the announcement of decay upon a pristine landscape. And I'm like, oh my God, what does
So
this symbolize?
good.
Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
That's pretty intense imagery right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did y'all think about the double black lines?
I mean, I would instantly be like, I need some holy water. I need
Right?
a cleansing.
Yeah.
And that was shortly after she finally got her hands on Beatrice's manuscript that never got published. And Carolyn seems to be like really adamant about keeping this manuscript on lock. Like she is only allowed to go to her house and read it and take notes for 1 hour once a week, and she can't leave like with the manuscript. So I'm like, what? There's something going on there, obviously. So I'm scared for her.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
same here. And that is Carolyn Yates, right? Formerly
Yes.
Carolyn
Wingrave.
Wingraves.
Wingraves.
And so this is Carolyn. She's but in both timelines. She's in the 1938 timeline and 1934 timeline and 1998
Right.
timeline.
Yes.
So
yes.
yeah.
So those
Yeah,
are
I
my
don't
three
know.
things. Yeah. Yeah. And again, like I really go back to the writing where like it's so good and it is painting this picture
Mhm.
and it's giving me like this like bad feeling just as I'm reading it and I'm not
Yeah,
even
already.
there.
I know it's ominous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very.
Very.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so I'll go ahead and dive into my three things. So this one's a little bit of just like, I don't know, it just like caught my eye because she barely mentioned it.
She does. It's very fleeting.
Yeah, but she barely mentioned that one time she kind of like lost it around this guy who she doesn't seem to like, Conrad, who is one of the students in her building that she's like in charge of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know about that a little bit more, like what happened there, because their interaction was like very abrasive. He seems to be just annoying and trying to push her buttons, you know? So, yeah,
It's like
it
a
has
common
nothing to
rule
do with the
breaker.
time. Yeah, exactly. It has nothing to do with the overarching plot, but I'm
No.
just like, wait a second. She barely mentioned that. So I want to dig in.
Well, and it's interesting because she talks a lot about how she's very isolated, how she doesn't have friends, how she doesn't really go out anymore, how she's on a burnout. So the fact that she even brought up that she hooked up with this guy who's
I
so
know.
obnoxious, I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what though? I think he's gonna be like the stereotypical guy that gets killed later on because he's entangled with our main character.
Like one of the
I
first
think
ones to go in
Okay.
in a horror movie.
Man, yeah.
yeah, I honestly maybe
Basically.
not one of the first, but I think there's gonna be something there. I think she's
Hmm.
gonna have to confide in him at some point in time,
Mm.
and that's gonna lead to probably another hookup. So I don't know. I
Who
don't know. I think there
knows?
could be something there. But yeah,
Yeah.
right now he's like the stereotypical frat boy,
Right.
Annoying.
rich kid. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll probably find out something like
Hmm.
something heartbreaking about his home life, that he's staying there during the summer and not going home, you know?
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
also kind of suspect him a little bit because his roommate disappeared, is something that Minerva discovered like right before the end of the section. So I'm
Hmm.
like, I need to round everybody up who's like around this guy and figure out what happened there. Because I don't know, I feel like it's a little suspicious.
Well, she kept like asking about Thomas, which is the roommate you're talking about,
Yeah.
and not really
Mm-hmm.
knowing where he went and why he didn't enroll somewhere. So
Yeah.
like it
So
wasn't.
I can't remember if it was Conrad or someone told her that told her that he transferred to a different college, and then she found out that he never enrolled in that other
Yes.
college.
Yeah,
So no one
exactly.
knows where he went.
Yeah.
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 Okay, my second thing is I noticed that there was a scene right after they had all gone to mass, and so Alba and Arturo were together. They had just come out of the convenience store. And then like across the way they see for some reason Tadeo is
Hmm.
talking to a witch, but he's trying to like get her off of him. And then when the witch sees Alba and Arturo, she spits on the ground and like angrily storms away.
Hmm.
And I'm curious, like, at first I thought like it was Arturo that caused her to react that way. But I'm like, well, was it him or was it Alba? Because, and the only reason I bring that up is because she did perform a little bit of witchcraft of her own, wanting to get her uncle Arturo to come visit.
That's
And
right.
and she told
Yep.
him about it. So like it, we already have like a little tidbit that she kind of dabbles a little bit in witchcraft. So I'm like, what does this witch see? Is it Arturo or is it Alba? What do
So
y'all
what I
think?
do like about this timeline is that there's actual mentions of witches here. So like in
Yeah.
1998 and in 1934, it's not really it's not really common, I guess, or as common. But in
Hmm.
1908, there's actually witches living in that town. So I thought that was pretty
Hmm.
cool. Yeah, no, dude, I did not put that together. Like, I did not think that maybe she did that because Alba was standing there. I really thought she did that because Arturo, because he's scum, in my
Yeah, that
eyes.
was my first thought.
Yeah.
But then thinking back while I was writing my notes, I was like, well, they were side by side, Alba and Arturo. So
Huh. That's
we don't
interesting,
really
though.
know who she reacted to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that is interesting.
I didn't put that together either, but that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering what they were arguing about. Like, I wonder if she was
Right.
trying to, like, warn him of something.
Right. Yeah.
Or like she's trying to ward off like whatever juju
Yeah.
is there.
Maybe
Yeah.
she sensed a bad omen and,
Yeah. And she's, like, trying to warn him that something was
Mhm.
going to happen. Yeah.
yeah. And then my third thing is I know we haven't gotten a lot of the 1934 timeline just yet. We barely got one tidbit in this section. But I am already getting weird vibes from Carolyn.
Mm.
In the
Mhm.
1998 timeline, she, again, I mentioned this earlier, she like tried really hard to dodge Minerva
Mhm.
when she was trying to reach out to her because she knew that they were good friends. They went to school together in the same time. And so, I don't know, I'm just getting some weird vibes from her. And like, especially after reading that section of Minerva going through Beatrice's manuscript and how she described Carolyn at that time, she just sounds like a mean girl. And
Caroline is very interesting. Like, she literally went from hating Jenny to being her friend all of a sudden. I mean, she kept giving her a hard time for being so spiritualistic, but she still was friendlier to her than she was when she first started. And so there were
Mhm.
rumors going around wondering why did she all of a sudden become friends with her? And so
Mhm.
one of those has to do with Edgar, which
Yeah, that's part of
is
my prediction for later
yeah,
too.
so
Yeah.
there's definitely a connection between Edgar and Carolyn and Ginny because 1934, Edgar and Ginny were dating. And in
Mhm.
1998, Edgar and Caroline are married. So something happened in between that. But I don't
Yeah.
trust Caroline either. I don't like her. I
Yeah.
don't like, but I've always not liked these like snobby, like, what am I thinking? Privileged people.
Privilege.
Like,
Devil
yeah.
wears
Yeah.
Prada. Like,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And she
Yeah.
and she even describes, so like in the manuscript, she describes, I guess I don't know if Carolyn told Beatrice this, but basically she thought that Virginia was less than her because all these girls are privileged except for Beatrice. They all come
Hmm.
from money.
Right.
But Virginia was from new money, which I guess
Right.
is less than old money. I don't know. Like, I don't live in high society, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's just gross the way that she treated her poorly, even though they're both wealthy girls, which shouldn't
Yeah.
matter anyway.
It's ridiculous.
all right, so my three things are all pattern based. So I'm going to throw these out here and see what we think. First of all, there's a wide appearance of a variety of birds in this story.
Okay. Yeah.
So I picked that up like within the first couple of chapters, and I was like, "Wait, what?" And then I happened to like, I didn't even realize that a bird is on the cover at first
Yeah.
until
Oh, yeah.
It's
until
like the main
after I had
thing.
picked up on that. I know. I you automatically focus on the hand that's like
Yeah.
reaching up towards
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was like, okay, so birds are like a thing in here. I don't know how
Okay.
they're involved, but there's a variety of birds mentioned. Not an owl. I haven't heard of any owls
Yet.
yet, but there's like sparrows and peacocks were mentioned because peacocks are roaming around the campus.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah.
And so yeah, there's got to be something with that. I think that needs to be looked at, possibly.
Ooh, did not
Yeah.
notice
Yeah.
that.
What
I
do y'all
didn't pick that
think?
up either. I didn't pick that up either.
Yeah, that completely went over my head. I didn't notice it. When you mentioned the peacocks, I had completely forgotten about the peacocks.
Me
But
too.
yeah, that's kind of weird. There's these peacocks that live on campus.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the first thing. That's the first pattern. The second pattern, of course, is the disappearances because there's one in every timeline.
Hmm.
There's one in every
Yes.
timeline. In the 1908 timeline, it appears that Tadeo has disappeared
Yeah.
from his room, and we find like that spot of blood in his room.
Now, it hasn't
And
been
the 19
confirmed that he has disappeared, only that
That
she
is
found a
true.
bunch
Yeah,
of blood.
Yes, that is true. That
Right.
it appears that way. So we have that, and then in Beatrice's timeline, it's obviously Virginia.
Right.
And then in the 1998 timeline, it's Thomas, Conrad's roommate. And so there's
Right.
these disappearances. So far, the only connection that I can make out is just between two timelines, and that's Carolyn
Hmm.
and the Yates family. So I don't know. And then that leads me to my third pattern. They can kind of go together. But for the most part in this story, there seems to be two main families involved,
Hmm.
Minerva's family
Mhm.
and the Yates family.
Right.
Yeah.
And so others are involved, but they're like caught in the crosshairs, like Virginia.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I don't know how that might all shake out. What do y'all think?
I mean, that's a
Mhm.
good call out considering that Minerva's great grandmother, like Stephanie said earlier, does a little bit of witchcraft on her own, you know?
Right.
And then the Yates family, like you said, is connected to both disappearances.
Hmm.
That has to mean something.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I don't know. But I was like, these are patterns that are starting to take shape a little bit.
So
Mhm.
definitely good things to look for as we're reading the next
Yeah.
section then.
I'll be paying attention
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
birds.
Those are really good call outs. Thank
Yeah.
you. See, this is exactly why we do this, y'all. Because, like, I could be reading it from a completely different lens and I'm looking at it
Mhm.
in a completely different way. Stephanie's looking at it a completely different lens, and Ethan is now looking at it in a completely different lens. So now that we bring them all together, then we could really be looking at the story as we move forward through all of our lenses and really bring it together. I love it. Love
Yeah,
it.
it's great.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to our two character moments that had impactful, or two characters that had impactful moments. So the first character that I wanted to bring out is Minerva. And honestly, it's just kind of a small call out. I really like the basis of her thesis. So she's a graduate student, so she's working on her master's. So this is her master's thesis, because she even talks about possible doctorate afterwards. And I just think it's really interesting that she's focusing on horror literature. That's not a common topic that I feel like people focus on. I think me just being in the education world for so long, I forget that not all papers have to be on education best practices. There are other things people write about.
Yeah.
Interesting. But obviously, the more I think about it, there are so many great stories that come from documentaries about people uncovering truths, right? So like that's great storytelling right there. So honestly, I'm just really interested. I'm really interested to see everything she uncovers. And I know that's going to be obviously the whole basis of the story. Everything she uncovers, how everything's starting to piece together. So I love it. I love her thesis. The second one is on Uncle Arturo.
All three of us were like, oh my God.
And the only reason I want to bring him up during my character moment is because he is kind of having an impact on me as I'm reading this. I really don't like it.
Yeah.
It's not a great impact. It's not a positive one, but it's there. Specifically, though, on his relationship with Alba. What the hell? What is going on? Like,
gross.
As I was listening to this audiobook earlier, getting ready for our episode today, I was listening to her describing him and just how much she is talking him up. And I'm just icked out by the whole thing. She talks about how great he is, how sophisticated he is. And she even dresses up in a green dress for him. And then she even thinks like she liked Arturo best of all the men in the world. I'm like, oh, why? Then she thought him intelligent, magnificent even. I'm just like, ugh. And then he gives her a necklace, y'all, and she puts it on and runs her hand down her breast with it on.
Yeah.
When I was reading that, I'm just like, girl, he is your uncle.
Yeah.
Like your tío. Anyways, what do we think about this, y'all? Like, there's even a moment where like they're face to face and they stare into each other's eyes, and I'm just like, oh, okay, what are we doing? What the hell are we doing?
Now, okay, not that this is an excuse at all. I am so icked out by this. But let's remember, Alba is like 19, right? And he's not that much older than her.
He's 24.
I think they said he's like 24, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that big of an age gap. And so at 19, I can understand how a girl would look up to this man that she thinks is sophisticated from a big city. She's a small town girl. He's had all these experiences, you know, he knows French. Oh my goodness. All of us can see how he's gross and he's probably a huge loser back in the city.
Yeah.
Because he just seems slimy. But, you know, she's just a young girl who's like, but again, yes, to your point, Jen, this is her uncle. Gross. But yeah, I was grossed out by it too.
Yeah. Well, so this whole character thing will play into my prediction. So I will leave more to what I think about the relationships. All right. So yeah, that was my second character moment. And yeah, gross. But anyways, Steph, what were your two character moments?
Yeah, so I noticed that Minerva kept to herself at that party that Hideo took her to. And I just wanted to call this out because this was me in college, you guys. Like, I was part of, Jen knows, this was me in college. I was part of a sorority where we had to go to certain parties sometimes, and I would just always find a quiet corner or a quiet room and maybe talk to one or two people. If the parties weren't kept so dark, I probably would have brought a book with me to read at these parties, but the environment was not conducive to reading. So I just wanted to point out, it's just another level of me connecting with Minerva in this book.
You know what's funny is that I totally thought about you whenever I was reading that part.
I'm telling y'all, she was me. I'm her.
I don't want this to sound like, oh, poor Ethan, but I was never really invited to parties when either I was in high school or college. And I kind of take it as a blessing, really, because had I been invited, I probably would have had very like little self-control. And so like that, and I'm not even an extrovert. I'm totally introverted.
Same.
But you get a couple of drinks in me and I'm very loquacious.
Oh yeah.
So,
right.
and very, very sappy. Like I get really sentimental. And so you get mean. I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
you were bossy. Do we need
You're
to
bossy.
do we need
Actually,
to
I did get
remind you
bossy.
about the time you locked all the boys out of your house on your birthday?
You know what?
Find me
Okay.
this.
I take it back. I do get a little bossy, just a little bit, because I do try to
We
hold
know.
back. But hey, there was that one party you went to with me, Ethan, my senior year.
Oh my gosh.
I don't remember half of it.
I
but
wasn't
I'm
there,
sure
but I
you-
got all the backstory after.
Yeah. Yeah, because you had just
You-
graduated already.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, it was us and some college friends of yours, plus both Jen and I worked at the YMCA.
Yes.
And we had some YMCA friends there as well. Yeah, I think Jen and the wall got very well
Yeah.
acquainted at that
Jen,
party.
did you send me that video, or how did I get my hands on that video?
First of all, I didn't even know there was a video. So
I remember seeing the video.
the point of the story, you guys, if you're listening, is that Stephanie definitely very much relates to Minerva
Yes.
when it comes to college parties.
And Jen was the opposite.
I
Just
was
want to
the
make sure that
opposite.
gets in there.
Yeah. Stephanie, what was your second point?
All right, my second point.
She's like, change the subject.
Back to the matter at hand here. Okay, so something I noticed when Minerva was at Carolyn's house, there was this room where she had all these paintings. Carolyn's an artist, she had all these paintings, but there was this one painting that she noticed that actually happened to be Virginia's, and it was completely different from all the rest of the paintings in this room. And from what I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed to be just like this mishmash of like geometric shapes and bold contrasting colors. It's so completely different from the other ones, and it caught her eye right away for some reason. And again, I just feel like there's something else pulling Minerva to the story. Obviously, I think most people would probably notice one piece of art that's completely different from a room of art. But, you know, I just feel like there's more to it there. And then also the reaction that Carolyn had when Minerva asked her about that one painting, she was like, that was Jenny's, like, Edgar refused to get rid of it or something like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
I
She
don't
did not
know.
like it.
Yeah.
Now that you're saying that, I'm like, with weird geometric shapes, and then this section ends with her getting 2 black lines on her door. And like, that's geometric. Like, I wonder if maybe there might be other markings on her door that might appear later that might.
Interesting.
Do we know if the markings were, because I was thinking about it too, I was like, were they horizontal or vertical?
She
Sorry, I
just
did
said
it the other
parallel,
way.
right? Yeah.
They're parallel, but like in what direction?
didn't
Exactly.
say.
Did she
Yeah.
say? Okay.
She just said
That's what I was just like,
parallel.
yeah, so there were
So
just
who
2 lines
knows?
next to each other. Okay. But yeah, no, the
Interesting.
only thing I could think about whenever I read that section about the painting was that whenever I think Beatrice was talking about the difference between Caroline and Virginia is that they saw each other a lot because they were in a lot of the same art classes. And where Caroline was a perfectionist, you know, and she had to get her paintings down to like the most perfect way, Virginia was the opposite, where she was more liberal and like just, you know, put whatever she was thinking of. So I don't know that
Whatever
gives
she
you more
felt.
explanation. That was just the only connection I
And-
remember having to that section.
And so Beatrice and Virginia were roommates, right? So she would also paint
Yeah.
in their room.
Yeah.
And she would say that she would just paint whatever the spirits showed her or whatever.
Right.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
and you know, in witchcraft, there's a lot of symbolism. So that's interesting. I do wonder which direction those lines were going on her.
All right. So for my 2 things, the first thing we've already mentioned was Alba and Arturo. Like my character that I chose was Alba. And I was like, I immediately thought, when is Mean Girls not a good like reference point? But I was like thinking of Karen, and she's like, you know who's a good kisser? Seth Wazakowski. And she's like, you did not just say that. Well, he's a good kisser.
Yes.
He's your cousin. Like, dude, he's your uncle. Like,
Yeah.
that's gross. And I know we're in the early 1900s, but I still feel like that might be a little taboo, you know?
Yeah.
just a tad.
Yeah.
Just a smidge. But what weirds me out even more is that her family doesn't object. Like, it is clear that they are very flirtatious. Like they're not hiding it. And so
I
I
always
don't.
thought that like every time that this happened, it happened between like behind closed doors. Like the whole necklace situation was behind closed
That was in her
doors.
room. Yeah.
The interaction between like the closeness of their faces was just them two alone. She
Right.
even
They were in
talked
the
about
parlor,
hiding.
so
Yeah, she even
it
talked about
wasn't
hiding
like,
the necklace from her mom.
yes, that's
Yes,
true.
no, that's totally true. Totally true.
So I don't know that they know because she even like when they had their whole little perfume moment, which was also very ick, they were
Hmm.
alone. So I don't know that they're
Yeah.
actually flirting in front of people.
No, I
But
don't
I'm
think that they're
sure that the
flirting in front
family
of
has
people,
picked up on how like infatuated she is by him. Because even when
especially
they
if
were
she's like the
preparing for him to
matriarch outside
come,
of her mom.
yeah, yeah. When they were preparing for him to arrive, she was setting up with one of her sisters and kept like going on about how perfect it had to be, and they had to get out
Hmm.
the little saucers for him because he's from the big city. So like I'm sure they see this, you know.
Okay.
There's no way they
Okay.
don't.
Yeah. Well, especially her mom. I was like, you're like her mom. That's your brother and your daughter
Yeah.
Blech.
that are flirting.
Yeah.
So she has to have picked up on something there. But even like if she has, she's not objecting to anything. Like you would
Right.
figure that she might have like a little side convo with Alba saying, "Hey, let's not, not do
Right.
that."
I would
I also
hope.
think that her mom is not very kind to Alba. Like she kind
No,
of
she's
just
not. She's very
yeah.
cold
Hmm.
towards her.
She
Yeah.
dismisses her a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised that she's
Ooh.
not saying anything.
I wonder
Hmm.
if maybe she knows her daughter is a
A little
little
witchy.
magical, and maybe she doesn't
Yeah.
care for that.
Ooh, maybe.
It
I
seems
mean,
like she doesn't.
there's a lot of reference to the dad being very into that, or the dad used to
Yes.
be very into that. So like that's where
Yeah.
Alba
He was
gets
more the
her connection
spiritual
from.
one.
Yeah.
Right.
And now he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I know that Luisa, which is Elba's mother, just lost her husband, but yeah, that would even that being the case, that would still weird me out. Like that's my brother that I pretty much raised, right? Like it says that Luisa raised Arturo, and so it's weird to me, that whole situation. And then my other character I chose is Minerva, of course. So I, like we've all said, I'm concerned for her
Mm-hmm.
because this
Hmm.
whole situation is giving. Have y'all watched the movie Skeleton Key?
Mm-mm.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Skeleton Key, Kate Hudson, she is this caretaker for this older man.
Hmm.
And the town is engrossed in voodoo, and the whole time she's thinking that these evil forces are out to get her. She didn't believe in any of this at first, but when she starts digging and doing some research, then she starts believing. And when she starts believing in it, that's when she gets in trouble, because now it's
Hmm.
real to
Right.
her. And so now it can affect her. And so Kate Hudson's character, lives in the end, but it's not a good situation.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so it feels reminiscent of that to me a little bit.
That's
The
a good
story. So
connection.
I'm concerned for Minerva here for that reason. She's doing all this research, she's digging it, and I don't think she really believes in it.
Yeah.
But
Because
I
she
think she
talks
do
about
think
how
does.
well, she talks about how her great grandma Alba would tell her about it, but it was almost just like, oh, this is like her folklore or whatever, you know.
Like a fascination, but not really a
She's
Not
belief in
really
fascinated.
it.
believe
Okay.
it. Like she
Okay,
doesn't
yeah, you're
She's
right.
practice witchcraft.
fascinated
She
by it.
doesn't believe in it.
You're
She just knows
right.
it's part of her culture, but it's not like something she subscribes to.
Right, you're right. Because she does talk about, yeah, she doesn't talk about how she believes in everything or like she believes in witches, just that she's
Hmm.
always been fascinated by the stories and she thinks that they're beautiful stories.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it holds this very, like us, we are fascinated by the stories of witchcraft and stuff like that. And it is interesting to research, but when you start
Hmm.
believing in it, now it can really start messing with your mind and affecting you.
Yeah, fucking owls.
Yeah, I know. Which also, okay, so that I told you I was gonna like make that connection. So birds, right? I already did
Yeah.
that. Minerva, the name, right, is tied to the Roman goddess Minerva, whose symbol is often depicted as an owl. So, like, there's a little connection
What?
for you. Yeah.
What?
That's good.
I wonder if the
Yeah.
other names are something like along those lines. You think it's just Minerva? Since she's that one that kind of brings all the stories together?
Maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe she like, yeah, maybe she's like the true witch.
Sorry. I
She's
didn't know that.
connected in
Maybe.
some way,
That's
right?
so
For whatever reason,
interesting.
she's like the central character in the story. So there's,
Right.
she's connected to it all somehow, right?
Interesting. Ooh, predictions.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are so Alba and Minerva were my two.
Well, now that we started to talk about our predictions or just theories, because we love discussing theories,
Yeah.
y'all.
Love it.
So let's
Love
get
it.
into our one theory or prediction. So for me, we've we've already discussed this in length, but Uncle Arturo is bad news in my eyes, y'all. I feel really disgusted with the relationship with his niece, but I feel like maybe he's really pulling her strings for a reason because he knows he can manipulate her into siding with him. You know, kind of what we talked about earlier about him wanting the farm because, you know, he's like a gambler and he goes through money fast, so he's after the farm. But there was a mention about whenever he was like giving Valentin a hard time about these stories, and he was giving Alba a hard time about all these stories, where Luisa says, once upon a time, you used to like the stories of spirits and witches and monsters, and he used to go buy trinkets at Los Pinos. So he used to have a connection to that, right? He used to believe in that. So all of a sudden now he doesn't believe. But I think that he's very much connected with witchcraft still, or even just something even more evil. And I think that he has something to do with the blood that Alba found. And that's what I think. That's my theory, I guess.
Hmm.
I think people are going to try to point fingers at Perpetua from the market because they saw them arguing. And so they're going to be like,
Hmm.
oh, that's an obvious. She's a witch from Los Pinos. Of course, she has something to do with Tadeo's disappearance. But I don't think it's that. I think Arturo is evil, and I think he's the one that has to do with the disappearance of Tadeo,
Yeah, that's a good call out because we know he's got motive
right?
since he needs to fund his lavish lifestyle out in the big
Exactly.
city.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Tadeo was very much against selling the farm. And
Right, and
so
he would need
with
to get rid of him to
him
make this
gone,
happen.
he'll be the man of the house now because everything falls
Hmm.
on the decision of a man, not the women.
Yeah. Yeah, because like all the other siblings are women, so unfortunately in this patriarchal culture, like that wouldn't go to Alba. It wouldn't even go
No.
to their mom,
Yeah, it would
Luisa.
go to Arturo.
Arturo would be the next man in charge.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay,
my theory,
it looks
y'all.
like you're cooking something, Ethan. What do you got?
Okay. So gosh, there's so many different theories and
There
obviously we love
are.
them.
Yes, there are.
So as you're talking about that, like what if it's Luisa? Like what if it's a female line, right? And because she had every reason to not accept him in her household. She was told that he's like this money hungry person. He's probably in debt and that's why he needs this money. And so what a perfect scapegoat to blame something on.
But what would she get out of it?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's yet to be revealed, but I could see it being like a female driven line, right? Of like, this will kind of play into my prediction, I guess, later, but like, we need some kind of blood to be had, even if it is my own child. Maybe that's why she's cold and distant with her children, because she doesn't.
Interesting. Well, since you already
know,
kind of like
that one's
dipped
not as
into it a little
half-baked.
bit, do you want to give yours?
Okay, sure. So I feel obviously like these disappearances are key, like
Mhm.
they're vital to the story.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Conrad's roommate or if Tadeo makes an appearance again, my theories and predictions kind of fall through. So I don't know.
Okay.
But I do think that these are key. Perhaps Carolyn is a lot older than she seems. I think there could be, like, I could associate, if we're dealing with different generations, I could see, like, maybe during Minerva's research, she comes across a photograph of some, like, way back when. She's like, wow, that really looks like Carolyn. Oh, no, that is Carolyn. And, like, she's the same throughout history. I don't know. But I could easily apply that to anyone in this story.
So there was
like
a
that same theory.
very small mention of age at one point when they were talking about Alba living to 101, I believe.
Yeah.
That's true.
So maybe because it was like subtly brought up, maybe you have like, because you know how books are, like big obvious answers are usually not the answer.
Hmm.
But maybe you're right. Maybe you are onto something. Because they did talk about the
Interesting.
age and they talked about Caroline, wanting to live longer.
Yeah.
Right. Ooh, that'd be interesting if there's like one person connected to all of these stories and it's like the same exact person, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, because you
Ooh.
did say that she was missing from because that only connection is only in 1934 and 1998. There's really no connection of her yet in 1908 if everything kind of ties
Yeah.
together like you're saying.
But maybe something will
Yeah.
come up.
I'm wondering if there's out there in the research that maybe birds are actually a symbol of youth, you know?
Interesting.
Now I'm going to be looking up bird symbolism.
I know.
I know, things to mull over, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Do some deep diving on witchcraft. Okay, so my prediction, or I guess it's a theory, I already mentioned how similar to how you're suspicious of Arturo, Jen, I'm suspicious of Carolyn.
Okay.
I just feel like she had something to do with Virginia's disappearance. And to your point, you mentioned when we were talking about it that at first she did not like Virginia until she realized that she actually knew this guy, Edgar,
Mm-hmm.
who came from a more powerful family
Mm-hmm.
than she did.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she became interested in being her friend. So she didn't genuinely want to be this woman's friend. And Edgar and Virginia were engaged before she disappeared. And then after they disappeared, all of a sudden, Carolyn, well, probably not all of a sudden, I don't know the time frame, but in the 1998 storyline, she was married to Edgar. So at some point after Virginia's disappearance, she got married to Edgar. So that would be her motive in causing the disappearance of Virginia.
Yeah, because it hasn't even been mentioned like how Edgar ended up with Carolyn. And I mean, so far in the one chapter that we've been given of 1934, he is very much, smitten with Virginia.
Right, yeah. And it seems like he even was beyond their engagement and then her subsequent disappearance, because
He kept all those things.
he kept her art, refused to get rid of it. And then also when Minerva's going through Beatrice's manuscript, she mentions that Edgar and her both used to talk about Virginia and kind of try to figure out what happened there. And she even mentioned that they had hired private investigators to figure out what happened to her. So
Yeah.
they still, were interested in wanting to know what happened to her. So yeah, I think it's Carolyn. I'm calling it.
No, it's gonna just get so much better from here, y'all, because they're already like in the last few chapters before the section was over, so much was starting to already happen, and it's just gonna pick up with every chapter that goes on. Like, I'm so interested to see what happens.
I'm so ready for this. I'm loving this book.
Yeah. It's so good.
All right, book friends. So that was the end of part 1 of our deep dive of The Bewitching by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. But the discussion doesn't end there. Please make sure to comment and let us know what your thoughts are on our social media pages. We are Books Between Friends Pod on all pages. So interact with us there. Let us know your thoughts, your theories, your predictions. Like, this is what it's all about. We want to hear.
Yes.
All right. So, book friends, on our next episode, we're continuing to dive into The Bewitching by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. Join us as the story takes us deeper into the tangled threads of past and present. We see how choices made in 1908 and 1934 ripple dangerously forward into 1998, where family secrets, curses, and shifting loyalties continue to haunt. What truths are hidden in the echoes of history, and how long can the characters outrun the darkness that refuses to stay buried? Tune in as we unpack part 2, which focuses on chapter 2 of the 1934 time period through chapter 7 of the 1998 time period, where old magic collides with new consequences.
Ooh.
Stay tuned.